I, I, I think that went pretty good. I got a good view anyway. I hope everybody else did.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it was very enjoyable. Really nice.
Thanks, Frank. Thanks, Rich.
Yes, it was really nice.
Good. Oh, by the way, a quick announcement. I do want to announce that we are recording this because normally our meetings are open to the public, and I haven't been giving the public the Zoom link, but we'll put a recording, an edited recording up on YouTube. We did that for last month's meeting too, so the public can. Unfortunately, I forgot to record the intro before the video, and we won't actually include the video because we can just link to that. But we'll leave the mics open for some just discussion of the program and spend a few minutes doing that, and then we'll move into our informational portion of our meeting where we'll welcome a couple of new members and take care of other little bit of business and stuff like that. So anybody have any other any comments about the video? Any
Yeah, Rich.
Yeah, Andy.
Which took longer, the 40-inch or the Hubble?
I think if you went back to the genesis of the project, well, I don't know. I'd have to go look at when they actually started, you know, but we don't really know yet because the 40-inch isn't done yet, right?
That's true. But it does give me an appreciation for what you and Ron and Frank are doing, I must admit.
Well, you know, I mean, we could probably go up and work on it right now if we put on a spacesuit like that, you know, and
It's kind of ironic that our access is limited, similar to what it would be in space.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems that way, doesn't it? Yeah, a lot of people doing a lot of amazing work on that. That's, you know.
I got a really cool quote out of it, that's for sure. The only way to find the limits of the possible is to reach beyond them, and I think it was to the impossible. I couldn't write fast enough for it. Can you see me?
Not sure who's speaking.
Rich, this is Sam.
Oh, Sam, yeah, okay, yeah.
Are you on there? Okay, I just went on to check the status, and they said that as of 24 April 2020, the 30th anniversary of Hubble, it's still operating, and it could last until 2030 or 2040.
Wow.
Wow.
Without any extra help?
Well, we don't have anything that can go up and service it right now.
Well, you know, I kind of think even beyond that, like, you know, I guess the main risk is they run out of, you know, more gyros will break and they won't be able to orient it properly and so on. But it seems to me you never know what could happen, right? I mean, you know, with companies like SpaceX planning ways of getting us to Mars, and you would think if somebody wanted to, they could figure out a way to get to it and work on it, and it might even be like, you know, NASA sells it to a private concern to keep it going or something like that. You know, you never know what could happen.
Awesome.
Do you think we might want to buy it then?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a bit of a stretch maybe, but after we had our program in was it January or February? The fellow from over in Lancaster who's doing his own satellite program. I thought, you know, maybe we could start up our own space program, but I decided I didn't want to put that forward. But so we actually have, if you want to see it, I'll try to get a consensus here, but there's another like 5.5-minute video about Hubble that I have queued up that that Blaine found and recommended in another email. So I'll kind of say, what do y'all think? Do we want to watch that too, or do we want to move on to other stuff?
Sure.
Yeah,
I say yes. Great.
All right, that sounds like a yes. Okay, I'm going to try to do that one from this computer instead of using the cloud computer because it's a little bit easier. So let's see. First, I gotta open it up. Yeah, a little bit easier, so I don't have to talk myself through it here. That's the same one. Don't do the same one twice. Okay. And give me a second here. All right, there we go. Pause it for a second. All right. Yeah, so this is only a few more minutes, but it's also about Hubble. So watch this one. It's from Pound Sign Ask NASA at Home, and it's called "What is Hubble Revealing About the Universe?" The only thing I didn't like about that is it had a lot of like 3D eyes, 3D effects and stuff like that that were not just the Hubble image, but fancied up, to make it more, I don't know. But nice little add-on to the program, I guess. So I don't know. I don't see Blaine online, but I'd like to say just to acknowledge Blaine for suggesting the program for tonight and finding those 2 videos for us.
Yeah, Blaine's online. He's mute.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. I didn't see you on the list there. Hi, Blaine.
Hey. My favorite quote in that whole thing was by James Garvin. Engineering things that have never been done sometimes have issues.
We know that, don't we?
There's a version of that. It's called "Shit Happens."
Oh, God.
Yeah, it's it gives you some appreciation though for the challenges of doing something that's in outer space, where it's a lot harder. You can't just drive up to it and unlock the door and go tinker with it. You have to go through a whole outer space expedition just to change a fuse or something like that. So
You know what I thought was really, there were so many wonderful things in the video, but I thought what was really startling was to hear that gentleman worry about sending out an astronaut in case he didn't have the suit properly secured, or I thought it sounds like that terrified him. I can understand that. I just thought that was so interesting.
yeah, it's it's not for outer space is not easy, right?
Not for the faint of heart.
Yeah.
I don't think they actually went out, so he didn't really get to test his work.
Right, but he was afraid to do
I
it.
do wonder.
Well, I think he said they did evacuate the airlock, so he was in a vacuum.
Oh, okay,
Yes.
so it
Next
was
to
tested.
outside, yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
And then they were sorry they didn't get to see the aspects of it, like moving, seeing the telescope moving on.
Right. It was, and I wonder if it was an oversight or if it was just like logistical constraints, that they decided, well, we just got to concentrate on what we're doing, so we got to leave those guys stuck in the airlock there. Too bad. Who knows?
They did not seem too happy.
No.
They probably had to keep him in there in case resetting that software module didn't work.
Yeah, that's possible. Keep them as long as you had them there. Keep them there in case they had to go out after all.
Right.
Yeah. Yep. All right, now All right. Any other remarks about the video, or should we move on to our business we have to take care of? All right. Well, why don't we get onward with that then? So, Gwyn, I think you're still online. Yeah, I see you are there.
Yep, I'm here.
And we actually have, I'm trying to see if they're still here. Yeah, we have two new members that I'm aware of who are here. And I don't know if you received the paperwork yet, but they did send it to you.
No, I haven't received the paperwork yet, but I'm sure it's in the mail.
All right. Well, why don't we go ahead and for Brian and Brett, why don't we go ahead and invite them to have a first reading tonight, and provisionally the paperwork will be in here. So Gwyn, membership director, I'm going to turn the floor over to you to go ahead with that and do your thing.
All right, we're going to start with Brian Bolbett. He's here tonight for a first reading. If you could speak and introduce yourself, Brian, and tell us a little about yourself, how you found out about LVAAS and astronomy, and do you own any astronomy equipment? Like, do you have a telescope or binoculars, etc.? Anything else you want to say?
Okay.
Turn on your video, Brian.
Can you see me?
No, I can't see you.
Okay.
It just shows your email address.
I had it before. I don't know. I can't see anything but the video.
There should be like a start video button or something like that on your
Should be right next to your microphone.
Zoom controls.
Take it back.
Or maybe I can get a dialogue come up there.
If he right clicks on his window, you'll get an option, I think, to start the video.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, there you are.
There you go.
All right.
Stop thinking about it too much. All right, I'm Brian. Yeah. I'm 32. I'm going back to school for engineering. I have this right here.
Congratulations.
Ooh, show and tell. You didn't have to do show and tell, but.
Oh,
Can
nice.
you see it?
Yep.
Nice. Do you know what kind of telescope it is?
I just got it from my dad. It's a Meade. I don't know much else about it.
Okay.
I'm a novice at this, so I'm kind of
Hoping to learn how to use it.
yeah, exactly. I'm here for that.
Well, it's definitely something we can do once, we're able to meet in person. Like, I'm sure there'll be plenty of people that can help you figure it out.
It's easier than Hubble.
Yeah.
We have a number of Meade users in the club.
So I've only opened it once. I didn't know how to use it, so we'll figure it out.
Is there anything in particular you want to learn in terms of like astronomy, like any specific thing that you want to learn more about?
Well, my focus would be like the aeronautics engineering side of it. But I don't know. It's just all interesting to me. Always has been.
Yeah.
To learn more, I guess. Meet new people. Network. It all helps me learn, I guess.
Yeah. And then how did you find out about us?
I just researched, looked it up, looked at the local one.
Oh, nice.
That's what I did.
All right, awesome. So this will count as your first reading, and then you just have to come back either next month or the following month to complete your second reading, which is really easy. You just have to show up and be present to have your name read. And once I receive your dues in the mail, you'll be a full member.
Okay.
Right,
all right, thank you so much for coming.
Of course. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. All right, and then I know we have at least one more new member here tonight. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your last name. It's Brett Fathom. If you could turn on your microphone and your webcam to introduce yourself, that would be great.
Hey, we see you.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
I'm Brett Fathom. This is my wife, Sarah, next to me.
Hi, Sarah.
Our daughter's a little bit off camera, but she's also, we applied for a family membership. So my wife and Sophie, my daughter, and I, we're all applicants. And my son is upstairs. He's also an applicant, but he's the most distant applicant. Outer moon of the...
Okay. you could tell us a little bit about yourselves and your how you found out about us and your interest in astronomy, that'd be great.
Okay, well, I learned about you from Judith, who teaches at Muhlenberg College, and I also teach at Muhlenberg College. I'm chair of the physics department there, and I've been thinking about joining for years, actually. I've always loved astronomy since I was a little kid, and when I was in grad school, I did a little bit of astronomy before I wound up being a high-energy nuclear physicist.
Oh, wow.
And so down the line, for a little while, Muhlenberg College had, maybe some of you know about this or remember, a little while Muhlenberg had a telescope in Australia, a robotic telescope. That doesn't exist anymore, but I hope someday in the not too distant future, we can build a little observatory on one of the Muhlenberg properties. So one thing I hope to get out of this is to see how on the observatory,
oh wow,
for how we could, get our own observatory up and running.
Yeah, that's really cool. Is there anything in particular you want to learn about, like in terms of like astronomy, like a specific area?
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to getting used to using a variety of different telescopes. So one of the main things I've been playing around, we have a number of little telescopes in the department, and I have one or two of my own, and I just want to get a lot of experience under my belt before we make any purchases of our own telescopes for the college. And
Oh
so
yeah, definitely do that.
Brett,
All
I think some of us have met you at one or two of the meetings at Muhlenberg in the past.
Absolutely. I've gone to a couple of the meetings that you've all set up at Muhlenberg. They've been wonderful. I've loved your guest speakers and enjoyed the meetings very much. And I've also been up to South Mountain. I've never been to your dark site. I'm looking forward to seeing that.
It's a great place to visit, and we're all looking forward to being able to go back there freely.
Yeah.
Right now, it's part of the Hamburg Reservoir watershed, so Hamburg's really nervous about letting people go there right now. But and I just want to say, hey, it's great to be able to have some of our meetings at Muhlenberg too. So we always want to say thanks to Judy for that, and want to say thanks to you for that too, since you're.
Yeah, well, mainly Judith has really kept that relationship alive and really fostered it. So this is a nice opportunity to thank Judith for all the work she's done, both at Muhlenberg and for you guys.
Right.
All right. Well, thank you so much for doing your first readings.
Sorry, you say something, Ron?
Yeah, I said we also enjoy the dining hall after the meetings.
Yeah, it's very good.
Yeah. Well, like I was telling Brian, this will count for your first reading, and then you just have to come back either next month or the following month to do your second reading, which is really easy. So thank you so much for coming tonight, and hopefully we'll see you next month.
Great, Brett and Brian, both of you, welcome to LVAAS, and forward for you completing your requirements for full membership and being part of the club going forward. Yeah. So great.
I did want to look. I don't think I have one member that may be here for a second reading, but I don't know if she's here. Is there a Jocelyn Myers in the audience tonight? Doesn't look like it. Okay, that would be all for membership then.
Okay, Glenn, thanks. All right. Let me just go around here quick to the other elected officers that are here and committee members, see if anybody wants to say anything. I mean, I'll just remark that obviously we're all dealing with the restrictions of the global health crisis that everybody is working under these days. We actually have access to Pulpit Rock as well as South Mountain, and people are visiting them on occasion for necessary maintenance activities. But we're through the governor's orders and Hamburg's nervousness and everything else. We're not pushing our limits on that. We told Hamburg that, yeah, we appreciate the fact that we still have access to it, but we're only going to take advantage of it to the extent that we need to take care of things. Because Hamburg actually has a police presence, making sure that nobody that isn't supposed to goes across the chain and into the watershed area that they've closed. So Ron or Frank, you want to comment on that? Have either of you been up to Pulpit Rock in the past few days?
I was up about a week ago to mow the grass, and I'll be going up probably Wednesday or Thursday this week. But when I go up there, I took my wife along because to open that chain, it almost takes two people. Well, to open it, it only takes one, but to close it, it takes two because that chain is so doggone heavy.
Yeah.
And long, because of the length of it.
But everything.
Yeah. Plus, you need a code, for the combination lock that's on there, which we haven't disseminated.
Right.
Ron, are you saying there's something more than just the gate now then, I guess, right?
Yes, there's a separate chain across the bottom of the road down. As soon as the road ends and you get to the bottom end of the parking lot, there's a big chain across there that's on a combination lock. And they have an officer posted there, and he's not going to let anybody through there unless they have a real reason to get in there.
Okay.
Yeah, we do have people visiting South Mountain. I don't necessarily see anybody online tonight that's been doing that, but we're checking on everything to make sure everything's all right. We had mega meets scheduled for this month, and we've kind of canceled that. If we get an opportunity to do it again later in the year, we may reinvent it for another. But we're obviously not going to try to do it in May as we originally planned. Tom, you have anything else you want to mention about that, or anything else you want to comment on?
Besides Mega Meet being canceled, also the imaging meeting for May has been canceled. And in case anybody's interested, I actually got an email the other day from the Cherry Springs Star Party. They are canceling that for June. So there'll be no Cherry Springs Star Party this year.
Okay. Yeah, we were wondering about what was going to happen with that. Thanks, Tom. Anybody, I guess the floor is pretty much open. Any of the other committee chairs or any of the members have anything else they want to bring to the group?
Hey, Rich, this is Frank.
Hey, Frank.
Just talking a little bit about what we're going to try to do on the 40-inch. I sent you an email there with a couple of links on it, but we're looking at powder coaters in the area to powder coat the assembly associated with the 40-inch telescope. So if anybody has any particular knowledge of any of the firms in the area, but we've identified about 10 different firms in the area that do this kind of work. So we'll be looking to identify a firm and possibly have this done during this time period, because really it's just a matter of a firm doing the work and handing it back to us. So that work could occur at any time. So I think we'd probably be looking at the June time period to kick that off if possible. The other thing I would mention that, with this web conferencing capability, I wouldn't see why if somebody was working on, deploying their telescope or trying to set something up, if they wanted to pose a question, that we couldn't schedule some ad hoc meetings to help members of the club get their stuff set up to the extent possibly it could in a webinar type environment. So people could always submit an email, and those of us familiar with their equipment can possibly help them in that setup process.
Yeah, I agree, Frank. Yeah, basically the 40-inch telescope, we have some big pieces of iron that we have to get a nice finish on. We have it all apart right now. For those who are new to the club, this project was actually started sometime in the mid 80s and has never been a finished telescope in all of that time. We finally have, as of last year, we have completed optical set. We have a 40-inch mirror and a 10-inch secondary mirror that are done. We still have some engineering details working out on the construction, but the main structure has been existing, and it was all together, and the motors were all working, all that kind of stuff. We took it apart next year because it needs repainting. It's probably you know, if you look at how much metal is involved in terms of what the painting is, it's probably about, you know, 1.5 to 2 dune buggies worth of iron that needs to be powder coated or otherwise finished. So it's a pretty good painting project, and so we're trying to figure out exactly how we're going to get that done now. But I do like
I've never heard that unit of measure. That's awesome.
it's a big iron telescope is what it is. Uh, it's pretty iron intensive. Not a lot of aluminum in it, but um, it you know, when I first joined LVAAS and I saw this project, and I said, you know what, it's an impressive amount of work. Hubble is an impressive work for a nation. This telescope is an impressive piece of work for a club, and you know, an amateur club, and a lot of it that had been done before I joined to get it to the point where, you know, just even though it didn't have any optics in it yet, even though it had never been a working telescope, but just to see the capability of it moving on its mount, and you know, in an observatory with a dome and everything else up there at Pulpit Rock, I just said, you know, this is impressive as hell, and we have to finish this. So that's where I've been with it now. So of course the coronavirus is putting a little extra delay in the project. You know, we're not able to do some things we'd like to do, but we keep pushing on it. We're doing some of the engineering work now and stuff like that. So, all right, floor's open. Anything else? Anybody else want to bring to the club?
I'm just curious. I'm new. How many members are there, and what's going on? What's the structure like? I'm kind of
yeah. So LVAAS has, I don't know, Gwen, you can correct me, but I think it's about 210, 220 members right now.
Yeah, it's about 210 right now.
Yeah. We have actually probably about 40 life members who either
More like
paid,
50.
huh?
50. It's more than like 50.
Yeah, like more than 50. Wow. These are people that either paid the one-time fee to be a life member, or they paid the 2x dues amount for 10 years to become a life member, or we actually have a few people who were given life memberships in honor of their contributions to the club in other areas. And I guess most of the rest of them are regular members. There's a few associate members here and there that never completed their you know, second reading and came to become full members of the club. There are some life members. Gwen has more complete statistics that she shares with us every week at the board meeting, every month. I mean, the board meeting, by the way, is open to all members. So if anybody wants to attend a board meeting, it used to be, you know, you just show up. Now it's like, okay, let me know, and I'll provide you the Zoom information if you want to come to the board meeting.
Yeah, I can go in a little more details. Like Rich said, we do have quite a few life members. We have a few honorary members, and right now we have 96 regular full adults and 51 family members. 51 includes, you know, parents, children, etc. You know, families essentially. So we've got a mix.
Cool.
All right.
So Gwen, is that 51 family memberships or 51 people that
51
are involved
people. 51 people that are
memberships?
involved in family memberships. So 33 full adults and 18 associate adults / juniors, which would be children under 18.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, no problem.
Thanks, Ben.
Hi, Earl.
Good question, Brian. You know, I when I first joined LVAAS, I just wanted to get access to some of the observatory telescopes for something I wanted to look at that my own telescope wasn't big enough for it. And now it's like my whole life. So this organization can really draw you in. So, but you know, it's been a tremendous thing for me to be involved in, and I really enjoy it, and I hope you will too.
Awesome. I mean, thanks for being so welcoming. Everybody here was.
Yep, we are very welcoming to almost anybody that wants to join. We had a very rare exception to that. I'm going to make a brief announcement about this without going into much detail, but we had a very rare exception to that fact that we just closed the books on that at the last board meeting, but we had someone who was a member a long time ago and actually was expelled from the club due to some misconduct. And he applied to come back as a member, and he wasn't very honest about his way of doing that, and we decided to disallow it. So that's the first time in at least probably 10 years when that's happened. And the last time it happened, it was him also. So the way the rules of the club are written, by default, anybody who's interested in astronomy can join, but there is a process where if there's an objection to someone being a member, the objection can be filed. It can be acted on by the board, and in this case, it resulted in the objection being sustained, and the person was denied membership. And that's why we have the first and second readings, like Brian and Matt and Brett. I'm sorry, Brian and Brett had tonight to, your names will be published in the newsletter, and if there's anybody out there who has, it's like standing up at the wedding. If any person knows for some reason, yada yada, but it almost never happens. So just a very rare exception to that happened this year. Yep. All right.
Hey, Rich, just one more thing. Frank mentioned about trying to set up some kind of Zoom meetings to help members with like telescopes or questions. Would you be willing to help him organize that if we get emails for that?
Yeah, I mean, I have a paid Zoom account, so if possible, I could host the meeting and let it happen. I don't even really have to even be signed on. But if anybody wants to set up a Zoom session like that, ping me, and I have I have a whole bunch of other Zoom things I'm doing for people because I have that. It's not expensive. It's like $15 a month to get a paid Zoom account, but not that many people have done it. So, but yeah, I'm just willing to try to help with that. If it doesn't conflict with anything else I've already promised to do. Not doing a whole much else these days except sitting in front of the computer and working on whatever.
All right, awesome. Thanks, Rich.
Thanks.
Rich, this is Sam. I have a question for you about the Hubble video.
Sure, Sam.
Where did you have it on DVD, or where did you get it from?
It's on YouTube. I actually downloaded it from YouTube just to make sure I didn't have any complication with the network, and then sent it back out over Zoom. But I will I'll make the link available. Actually, put the link to it on the website, when we put the link to the recording of this portion of the meeting. So yeah, both of the videos are from YouTube, so you can get both of them there. So I'll make sure you're able to get the links.
All right, thanks.
If you want it right away, email to remind me, and I'll send it to you right away. Okay. All right. Well, I guess what we will do then is we will call the meeting to a close.
I tell one other thing.
Oh, okay.
For UACNJ, the state of New Jersey has decided they're going to reopen their parks. They were completely shut down. Not only just the restrooms were closed, but they completely shut down, no access for hiking or anything. And they decided to reopen that. The restrooms and facilities are still closed, but now they're kind of open for hiking. So that means the UACNJ site is available for limited use, with some restrictions, no more than 10 people. You have to be an observer to get the combinations. They have a combination for their gate and for the observatories, and also the clubhouse has a combination. But they do have, it is usable.
Thanks, Earl.
Yeah.
Yeah, for people who don't know, UACNG is United Astronomy Clubs of New Jersey, and they have an observing site with a bunch of observatories at Jenny Jump State Park near Hope, New Jersey, which is less than an hour from the Lehigh Valley, depending on which end of the Lehigh Valley you're starting from. And LVAAS is a member club of UACNJ, which means LVAAS members can get credentials to be UACNJ observers. And some of us have that, such as Earl. which means actually, we have 2 observing sites that are part of LVAAS, plus we have UACNG that can be made available to LVAAS members. So we have quite a lot of telescopes that you can get permission to use here as part of this club. Obviously, everything's a little more complicated now, but apparently Jenny Jump is open again for limited use. So great news, Earl. Thank you.
Hey, Rich.
Yes, ma'am.
About Pulpit Rock. Do the Hamburg officials give any kind of indication when they might let us back up there unrestricted?
No, we didn't, we didn't get anything like that. I mean, we're allowed to do whatever we need to do. We kind of told them that we're going to only do what we really need to do just to kind of take the pressure off them, because everybody obviously, is feeling a lot of pressure these days. And, Hamburg is concerned about the water supply they have to provide for other residents. So that's why they restricted access to the site. And we kind of just don't want to, push the limits with them. Ron, you're
Yeah, they were absolutely paranoid with all the hyperactivity up there. I mean, there were cars, most of the cars there were from New Jersey and New York, all out-of-state people using the site for hiking and stuff like that. And they were absolutely paranoid about their workers in the filter plant getting exposed to the virus. And if it gets into the workforce at the filter plant, there's only like 1 or 2 people, they'd have nobody to run the filter plant. So, and we have no idea when that's going to change now.
Are they keeping hikers off the mountain?
Yes, everyone.
Oh.
You cannot use the parking lot as an access point for hiking up there.
Yeah, I mean, if we
the state lifting restrictions, or is that Hamburg or the state? Who's in charge of all that?
That decision to close that parking lot for access was Hamburg Water Authority. Now, I'm sure if the state releases some restrictions, the Water Authority will probably relinquish their things, but Berks County is in this red area, or what is it? Is it red area? Red area. They're not in the yellow area that's having restrictions released yet, because we're lumped in with Philadelphia.
Yeah, basically, I think if we got to the point where we wanted to access the site to, like for example, get the stuff that we're going to have painted or something like that, so we could make some progress, I think we could go ahead and do that. But we're just limiting what we do to maybe a little less than we're technically allowed to do, just to be good citizens with them and can take the pressure off them, to try to avoid putting more pressure on them than we need to.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like we're going to be doing much with the 40-inch for at least a month, it looks like, right?
Right.
Yeah, I've only been going up to mow the grass, and I haven't had any problem with access to go up there, other than the fact that it's a royal pain in the butt to open this extra chain up to get up there.
Yeah, as far as the 40-inch, realistically, we're not doing anything this summer. So, there's just not going to be any group activities whatsoever on the 40-inch. So, if there's restrictions lifted and people do observing, that's up to them. But there's not going to be any activity as far as construction or reassembly this summer.
Did you get to retire, Frank?
Yes. Well, not yet, but I am. So that will happen, but still not going to have to schedule any group activities this summer up there.
Okay, thanks.
All righty, well, why don't we bring the meeting to a close, and I'm going to do that officially by stopping the recording.